I thought I would do an impromptu video on that. So I was talking to a client the other day. She was telling me about how she was in a date that was just, she realized, about halfway through that it wasn't going to go well. That they just weren't matched and aligned. And so she found herself sort of waiting for the date to be over. She asked me, she said, should I just be diplomatic and stay through the whole thing? Do I just get up and leave? So first, let me back up and say the best way to avoid a bad first date is to not go on one in the first place. And the way to do that is to, and my basic strategy is to, you chat back and forth. Let's say you meet them on a dating app. You chat back and forth a few times, but then as quickly as possible, you want to schedule a video call. First of all, and I frame it as just to get a deeper sense of each other. And that's really the case, and if you've known me or followed me for any length of time, I did another live stream on just the power of telling the truth. And really that's true in most cases. Now it's not an excuse. Like when you're saying, I'm just sharing my truth, usually that's just somebody being a jerk. So that's not what I'm talking about. Because usually when they say that, they're usually accusing somebody or judging them in some way. And that's not very useful in the moment. It's just going to, have a polarizing backlash. But, so you chat back and forth, and then as quickly as possible, you have a video call. And right away, if they don't want to do that, then, they're either paranoid or they're not really who they say they are or something. But I just sort of let it go. But in that call, in that video call, if it happens, you really do want to get a sense of each other. What's important to them, you could be as curious as you want, without having the person feel interviewed. And so you'll be able to tell how they move and talk, and just, you'll have a deeper sense of them. So, that's the first thing is to avoid getting there in the first place. But let's say you happen to be on a date and halfway through you realize, oh shit, I don't really want to be here. And you sort of like start planning your escape in your head, like, when can this be over? And so I told the client, I said, well, the best thing to do is actually say that out loud. Like, you don't need to think of an excuse or think about how to frame it. You could just say what's actually going on in your head. Say, I'm noticing, all I can think about right now is, when is this going to be over? And you're not judging them at all. You're not speaking directly to them at all, or saying, well, you're this or you're that. You're just saying, I'm having this experience. And so to take care of myself, let's just call it a night. And there's, first of all, there's very little to push back against that. If you could just say, I'm noticing I'm having this experience, and it has nothing to do with them. You're just saying, I'm noticing I'm planning my escape already, or I'm waiting for this to be over, or I'm noticing, this just feels off to me, or this doesn't feel like a fit. That's all you need to say. And then, so let's call it a night. Some people might be surprised. They might be shocked. Usually they have their attention on themselves, so they won't have a whole lot of attention on you and noticing that you're zoned out or checked out. But there's nothing wrong with that. And again, there's nothing they can say about you afterwards that's in any way blaming. And you've been honest, and you've just spoken about so you don't have to think about anything creative to say, or make up any excuses, or verbalize your assessments of them at all. You just share your experience. And in a way, it's a matter of self-respect to do that. And it'll, for some of you that may be awkward or maybe uncomfortable at first, and that's okay. And other people may have wildly different reactions to it. But honoring yourself in that moment, but also just not wasting the other person's time. So how do you get out of it? It's pretty straightforward. You just speak to just share your internal process. It's so simple. And that, is not just how to end a bad first date. That can apply to almost any situation in your life. Just be transparent about what's going on in your mind, which to me, when some people say communication is important to them, I don't mean ask me how my day was. I don't give a shit about that. What I mean is, if you're considering something or making a decision, or I want to know about your internal process, and share that with me, and then it actually creates intimacy very quickly as well if you're in relating. But that's just a quick one. I thought I'd give you a quick tip. It came up with a client the other day, and thought you might find it useful in these times of people trying to find love. Thank you as always, for allowing me to contribute to you, and I'll see you guys soon. I've got another live stream up on Tuesday about identification, and self-concept. We'll talk about spiritual practices. It'll be a very deep, very rich 20 or 30 minutes. Until then.